All right, J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, as I said, also voicing his support of the Trump administration's aggressive moves on trade. This is very interesting here, and I'm sharing it with you. He writes, "We should acknowledge many of the legitimate complaints around trade. Tariffs and non-tariff barriers to trade are often not fair. Intellectual property is frequently stolen, and the rights to invest in and own companies in some countries, in many cases, are not equal. The U.S. trade deficit reached a 9.5-year high amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and China as both economic superpowers begin these negotiations that really could reshape the future of global trade and, frankly, reshape our economy for the better going forward." Joining me right now, the author of The Coming Collapse of China, Gordon Chang. Gordon, good to see you. All right. They've been taking advantage of us. There's a number of different ways to show it. You just look at the amount of tariffs they're putting on our products that are going into their country and the lack of tariffs that we put on theirs. Now, a lot of economists will say, oh, but it doesn't matter because guess what? Americans are getting access to cheap goods. At what point does that start to turn and China becomes so big, so powerful with its own domestic market that maybe it doesn't decide to offer us so many of those cheap goods anymore?
Yeah, we're certainly seeing this. You know, basically what China has become is much more predatory, especially the last 7-8 years. U.S. companies are being shut out of the Chinese market through a number of different ways. And it's not just tariffs. It's those non-tariff barriers, those administrative actions that are applied disproportionately against foreign companies. And we're seeing a number of other different tactics, such as law enforcement actions that are only against foreign companies, especially in the monopoly areas. You know, we don't know where this is going with China, but it's going in very dangerous directions, not just in trade, but also in geopolitics as well. So we got to be really concerned about what the future of that will be.
I think we have to come to grips with, do we want to be the hegemonic power in the world or do we not? Here's that graphic that I was showing everyone yesterday. You look at China's GDP growth over the last 10 years, and it's so much more than ours. I mean, we're in blue there on that graph. They're in yellow, and they've had tremendous success. Now, granted, they were starting from a very different place, but they got a lot of people. And if that success continues in an outsized way compared to ours, Gordon, where do we wind up 10 years from now?
Well, we wind up in really a place where we can't defend ourselves. You know, even now, where the U.S. economy is $19.4 trillion, theirs is $12.8. They are shaping global standards, and especially in the trade area, to disadvantage not just of the United States, but other countries as well. And that is just completely unacceptable. We've had previous administrations who've tried to integrate China into the international system and ignored a lot of bad behavior. You know, finally, we got a president, and this is largely, I think, because of a change in consensus in the United States, but we also have a president who is willing to use American power to protect Americans and, by the way, to protect the rest of the international community. I think this is a great thing. And that's why you see Jamie Dimon praising the president, not just on tax reform, but also on tariffs.
Yeah, you know, and that's got to catch some people, including investors, by surprise, because the assumption by so many would be that Jamie Dimon and, you know, his cohorts would say, oh, my gosh, this sounds like a trade war. I mean, that was the reaction the market had initially. I kept trying to tell people to calm down a little because, you know, a lot of this right now at this stage anyway is rhetoric. And if there was to be a so-called trade war, Gordon, we actually have a fair amount of leverage there, right? Because we are the biggest consumer of Chinese goods. Without us, what do they have for their economy?
We have all the leverage in this relationship. Last year, 88.8% of China's overall merchandise trade surplus related to sales to the United States. We had a $375.2 billion trade deficit with China. Trade deficit countries don't worry about friction. And when you start to think about it, we've got that larger economy, as I mentioned. Our economy is stable and growing. Their economy is debt-ridden, headed to a crisis. You know, you start adding all of this up. We do hold those high cards. And you know what?
So use them, right?
We should definitely use them. And Trump understands that because we see this in his tweets. We see this in his statements. He is really the first president that I can remember that understands this.
Let me ask you, is this just because of his business background, or do you think that the other guys maybe were a little too beholden to some corporations that wanted to have a presence in China for quarterly earnings reasons?
Well, it was part of that. But it's also there was that consensus since the Nixon era of integrating China into the international system. President Trump says, no, we've got to have fair trade. And that's a very different attitude. We no longer see the success of the Communist Party as being a goal of American foreign policy. And by the way, you know, with Jamie Dimon, implicitly, he is saying, look, we've got this trade criminal at the center of the system of global commerce. That's completely unsustainable. And so he understands that this trade friction is not necessarily a bad thing because the Chinese have left us and the rest of the international community with no choice.
Well put, Gordon. Very, very well put, sir. Sir, thank you so much. Good to see you.